Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you're here. And for today's video, you must be wondering, Katie, what the heck is the TBR card doing out here? We already did the TBR jar for March. Why is this here? And that is because we're gonna be doing today a video that I really wasn't sure if I was ever gonna do, especially because I don't have like a crazy amount of books on my physical TBR like a lot of other people do. Do I have any idea how many are on the cart? Absolutely not. So maybe it's a lot more than I thought, but I definitely don't have enough to fill the cart. Also, by the way, if it's not clear enough, we're doing all the books on my physical TBR today. That's the video. I just didn't even tell you what it was, but I went into explaining it. So, I don't know, kind of like a guess and answer type thing. Hope you guessed it. So this is my TBR card right here. I got it from Target, I think, but I'll have one linked on my Amazon storefront. I feel like they're all very similar. I know a lot of people get them from IKEA and stuff too. We have 3 different levels and we have one side full on each of them. I think that the second row is the only one that I have more books on, which you will see whenever I show you. Also, don't mind me. It is pajama day in my house right now. It's not like there's anybody else here. Like Luke's not even here. I just dictated that it's pajama day because I'm working at home because that's what I do. And I wanted to wear my pajamas. So, happy pajama day, everyone. I think the only other thing that I do for my physical TBR is I put like my immediate TBR up here. So my monthly TBR is up here. I feel like we're just gonna go ahead and dive in because you guys know what you're getting into. The first book isn't, I'm gonna preface this by saying this book isn't really on my TBR, but I thought I would just show it because it is a book that I haven't read that I have, and that is Les Miserables by Victor, it's backwards, Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. For my high school drama club one year, I was in this musical and I was absolutely obsessed with it. I've always wanted to have a physical copy of the book just as like a coffee table book or just something to have like as a memento from the show. I've never read it. I know the entire musical back to front because I've seen it a billion times, but I have it and it's gigantic. Let's see how many pages it is. Oh my gosh. Can you guys see how small that writing is? That is absolute insanity. You're joking. Oh my gosh. It says it's 908 pages, which with that writing would literally take me like years. So probably never gonna read this, but it's nice to have. Okay, now the rest of these books I actually do hopefully want to eventually read. Some of them I'm kind of like iffy on, but I feel like the whole point of this video is for you guys to tell me which books you want me to read, and maybe in a reading vlog, or if I'm like scared of a book or a series or something like that, to get you to hype me up, because that happens a lot, as you're gonna see, because I'm gonna explain why I haven't read them. The first one I see right here is Flawless by Elsie Silver. This is the first book in the Chestnut Springs series. It's a little cowboy romance series. I think around this time last year is whenever it started to gain a lot of traction and hype. There's 5 books in this series and they're all based around brothers in this like small town. I think I've been putting this off just because of the fact that it's a part of a series and it's the first book in a series. So if I read the first one, I'm committing to the whole series. And you're gonna see that I'm in the middle of a lot of series right now. How many times can Katie say series in this video? We're about to find out. Plus there are other romance books that I've had on my TBR for a lot longer, so I'm trying to read those first before I get to this one. And then we have The Final Offer by Lauren Asher. This is the 3rd book in the Dreamland Billionaire series, and they're interconnected standalones. Each book follows a brother. This one is the brother Callahan, and I believe this one is in a small town too, and I've been putting this off because this is so big. This is huge for a romance book. This is 583 pages. That is insane, and there's so many other books that I've been wanting to read, and I didn't really love the first 2, but I've heard that a lot of people like this one the best out of the series, but I really want to get to the next one in like another connected world that's connected with this one, but it's like different. I'll be showing you that in like 1 second, I assume. I know it's somewhere on here. Since I didn't like the other ones as much, I'm kind of scared that this one is going to make me a little slumpy, especially because it's a big one. Then we have Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I'm just scared to read this because I read her other 2 books, Happy Place and Beach Read, 5-star reads. Love those books. Literally some of my favorites of all time. And I've heard that people don't like this one as much, so it just makes me scared. This is on my TBR for the month, so I'm really hoping that I get to it, and I want to try and read all her books before her new release in April. I think I'm just gonna start picking randomly. Then we have A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. This is the same author that wrote the Letters of Enchantment duology, or Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. I really enjoyed Divine Rivals, and my friend Olivia was selling some books, so I thought that I would buy this one off of her, and I don't really know anything about this book. I just know that her writing is beautiful and I want to read more of her books. Then we have Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. My future parents-in-law gave me this book. You'll see that they gave me like 3 to borrow in this stack and I've yet to read any of them. The writing in this one is just smaller and I don't know, I'm just like really nervous to read any sort of classic book. Here's the one that I was talking about with the final offer. This is Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. This is her new Lakefront Billionaire series. This is the first one in that one. This one came out and people were just like obsessed, and this one is set in the town that last one of the Dreamland Billionaire series is set in, and it's about Julian and Dahlia, and I've heard a lot of people talk about this is an HGTV kind of love story, which I think I'm gonna love. And then we also have the other Emily Henry book that I have yet to read, People We Meet on Vacation, and same thing with book lovers. I'm just scared to read this because I haven't heard as many great things as the other two. Might as well just talk about these because they're right down here staring at me. We have Crescent City 1, House of Earth and Blood, and then Crescent City 2, House of Sky and Breath. These are the Barnes & Noble exclusive editions. I just had to have them because they're literally so beautiful. I can't. Again, by Sarah J Maas. This is her 3rd series that she came out with, and I know the 3rd book in the series just came out, but I don't want to buy that one yet because I'm still in the middle of reading Throne of Glass. All I know about these is that they're urban fantasy, and that's it. Okay, and then speaking of Throne of Glass, we might as well go through the books in the series that I haven't read from that. I have the last 5 books left in the series. We have Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, Empire of Storms, Tower of Dawn, so scared for the tandem read, and Kingdom of Ash. The biggest reason why I haven't read the rest of these is because I really haven't been in a fantasy mood lately, for one, and I want to make sure that I'm in like the perfect mood to read these because I don't want to ruin my reading experience. A lot of people say that this is like some of their favorite books of all time and their favorite fantasy series of all time, and also I've just been filming other videos with other books, but I'm really hoping to get a good chunk done of those this month. Then Renegades by Marissa Meyer. This is a like superhero sci-fi fantasy. I've heard great things about it, but I just have so many other fantasy series that I want to get through first before I start this one. I feel like for fantasy, I don't want to read any fantasy until I finish Throne of Glass. Like that's gonna be my fantasy vibe for a hot minute. And then we have a few Colleen Hoover books that I have just never read. I don't know if I will ever read them. Have November 9th and Regretting You. I bought these at the beginning of my reading journey whenever I was reading a few of her books and just like flew through them. She's just one of those authors that her stories are very fast paced, but I just don't know if she's my taste anymore. But I also feel bad like not reading books that I haven't bought. I think I have one more on here too. Oh yeah, I haven't read Verity either, which is more of her like thriller mystery one. This one is like one of her most popular ones, probably up there with like It Ends With Us. So I don't know, maybe I'll do like a video reading these. I kind of want to read this one just because it's so hyped up, but I don't know if I'll ever read these. Let me know. I'm just not her biggest fan anymore. I don't want to like give her any slander, but that's all I'll say. Then we have a nonfiction book. This is You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. I bought this I think whenever I was in like high school. I don't know, I just thought it looked like a cool self-help book. I guess I read a little bit of it because I have a bookmark right there, but I don't remember anything from this. Who knows, maybe I'll read this someday. Not really a nonfiction girly though, as we know. And then I have Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. This is the 2nd book in the Shepherd King duology. The first one is One Dark Window. These are gothic fantasies. I don't really find them that dark though. The biggest reason why I haven't read this one yet is because Throne of Glass is taking priority, but once I'm done with that, this will be my next fantasy read. I loved the first one, highly recommend. And then I have 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I got this from my friend Olivia in that little book sale that I was talking about earlier, and I have no idea what this is about, but I've heard great things. I just like haven't gotten to it yet. Then we have another classic-y book that I'm kind of talking about, The Last Summer of Louisa May Alcott by Kelly O'Connor McNeese. I'm just scared. Plain and simple. Next up we have Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I read Meet Me at the Lake by her last year. I liked the writing, did not like the story. I've heard better things about this one. I've heard that it's kind of a mixture of Love and Other Words and The Summer I Turned Pretty. I'm hoping to read this summer. I know she has another release coming out and her covers are absolutely gorgeous and beautiful and I love them, but if I don't like this one, I don't think I'm going to be reading that one, but we'll just have to wait and see. And then I have An Abundance of Catherines by John Green. My name is actually Catherine, my full name, if you didn't know, and I think I got like a box set of like The Fault in Our Stars, this, Looking for Alaska, and Paper Towns, I think it was, whenever he was like super popular when I was younger. And that wasn't even when I was like a reader. I don't even know where the other books went. I know I have Looking for Alaska because I read that, but I don't even know where the other books went. Maybe my mom sold them because I never read them, but this is still on my bookshelf and I just have never read it, so who knows, maybe I will read it someday. Back here we have a book that I have really been avoiding. This is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. I read the first one, wasn't the biggest fan. It was super confusing. There's tons of different plot lines in here and there's like 7 different point of views too. It was just a lot. The first one is Six of Crows, by the way, and this is just a duology. And not only is this one bigger, but the writing in this is so small. I guess it's not that small. I don't know. I just don't want to read it for some reason. Even though a lot of people say that this is like one of their favorite books of all time. I don't know. I'm just scared. Another one from the top, we have The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry. Another one from my TBR this month. So excited to read this. This is more of a literary fiction and has a good subplot of romance. I've just heard that this is super wholesome and sweet, and I'm excited to read it. Another one of those classics, we have The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Don't know. I heard that this is really funny, but I don't know. I have no desire at this moment to read this. I did watch the movie though, or I watched like little bits and pieces of it with my dad the other day while I was just like at my parents' house, and I don't know, it looked interesting. I mean, it's just a fantasy technically, so I don't know, maybe I'll read this someday. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This has been a book that has slowly climbed up to the top-ish of my TBR. Hoping to get to this very, very soon. This is basically about a girl who makes a deal with a god or something like that, and then she becomes invisible to the outside world, and that's all I really know. It just seems really interesting. I've heard that it's very heartbreaking and heart-wrenching, so I'm definitely gonna need to wait for the right time and the right mood that I'm in to read this. But people have been loving this lately, so I'm really excited. Back here we have Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This is a part of the Caraval trilogy and also the trilogy that is before the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, which you guys know I love. But I never read Caraval, and I still want to go back and read it. Some people say that you have to read Caraval before Once Upon a Broken Heart. I didn't, and it was fine. Like, I understood everything in that series, but I can see how going back might ruin the story a little bit for me. I don't think it will. All I know is that my favorite character in that series is in this series, and I'm very excited to see who he is in this series. And this is a book that I haven't read yet because my book club wants to read this together. I think this is the last classic that I have on here, and this is one that I'm more likely to read. I picked this up a few weeks ago, actually. This is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. It's a lot shorter than I remember. I don't know why I thought this was like super long for some reason. I watched the movie, I think when I was in like middle school or something, and I honestly like don't remember it. I know like the basic plot line, but I don't know, I'm just scared because it's a classic. I don't know if that's a good enough reason. I feel like I should get to reading these. Maybe I'll do that in a video. Let me know what you think. I also want to read Little Women really bad, and I've never read Pride and Prejudice either. I feel like I should read those. Another one from the top, Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. I still have not read this. This book has been on my TBR for over a year. I don't know why. I straight up don't know why. I don't know if it's just because people have hyped it up for so long, and I know this is like some people's favorite books, especially people with like the same taste as me. So I literally have zero reason to say why I'm putting this one off. Please yell at me to read this in the comments. Two other books that I have been like almost religiously putting off is the rest of the Knock 'Em Out series by Lucy Score. We have Things We Hide from the Light and Things We Left Behind. I really don't remember a thing from the first one, Things We Never Got Over. And not only that, but these are huge. I remember liking it and enjoying it, but also like Grumpy Sunshine, I think I've come to find out, isn't my favorite trope. If it's a Grumpy Sunshine trope, it's not like I'm not gonna read it, but I don't think that it'll be a 5-star for me. It's just not my favorite. It's just not, and that's okay. Everybody has different taste, but I don't know. I'm just nervous on these two because I've heard a lot of mixed reviews. I know I really want to read the third one because I'm really excited for Lucian and Sloane's story, but I feel like the second one with Nash, and I know the girl in it just kind of like came out of nowhere or something. I know she was in the first book briefly, but I don't know. Please yell at me to read these because I really do need to get them off my TBR. Here's a random book that I picked up before. Okay, here's a random book that I picked up before I was like really into reading. This is Go the Distance. It's a twisted Disney tale, and it's by Jen Kalanita, and it's basically what if Meg had become a Greek god. I don't know if you guys know this about me. Hercules is one of my favorite Disney movies of like all time. It just kind of slowly crept up on me. The soundtrack, incredible. The acting, incredible. The storyline, incredible. And that was like low-key something that Luke and I bonded over whenever we first started dating. And we used to watch it like all the time if we didn't know what to put on. Oh my gosh, the writing is actually huge. I could probably like fly through this, and it's only 329 pages. So we'll see. I'm hopefully gonna get to this, but I think the reason why I haven't read it is because nobody talks about these books at all. So maybe that's why, like, it just really hasn't been in my head at all to read. Another one from the top, Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. This is a memoir, another nonfiction book. We really don't have a lot of these out here, but this is actually a nonfiction book that I'm really excited to get to. I know a lot of people love and adore this book. This is basically about Dolly Alderton's life and things she learned, and this is on a list of books that everybody should read in their 20s, and I'm in my 20s, so I don't know, I just really want to read it. This is a book that my friend Olivia gave to me. It's called Out of Love by Hazel Hayes. I have no idea what this is about at all. Oh, this is Probably gonna make me cry. Love that for me. Okay, well this probably went farther down on my TBR considering that it's gonna make me cry. I've really been putting those books off lately. This book I'm actually borrowing from my friend Jordy. I've literally had this for so long, and it's called Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. This book is a fantasy. A lot of people have heard about it. It's a duology. This is an OG popular book talk book. I don't know, there's so many other books that I would rather read than this one, and it's actually kind of funny. I have another one from her too, The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I didn't love Another Words like a lot of other people did, so I'm not like itching to pick up another Christina Lauren book, especially because people say like Love in Other Words is like one of like the best ones that she has. Like the rest are just kind of like not as good. But it's funny too because she has 2 books from me that she hasn't gotten to yet, and so we both just have 2 books on our shelves from each other that neither of us have read, which I think is very funny. I also know nothing about this one. I think this is just an enemies to lovers. That's really it. Another one from the top was The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. Y'all know I love Lynn Painter and her writing. This is an adult romance by her, and this is an interconnected standalone with Mr. Wrong Number. So the MNC in this one was the brother of the main girl in Mr. Wrong Number. I'm really excited to read this. It just looks like a short, fun rom-com read. I think it's under 300 pages. Yeah, it's 289 pages, which is super short. It just seems like it's gonna be a fun book. Lynn Painter always brings the fun, and I don't know, this is gonna be a perfect palate cleanser. Love her books. And then next up, another book for my TBR this month, The Heartbreak House Share by Emily Merrill. This is another book that people say everybody should read in their 20s. It's basically about a girl who goes through a breakup and she ends up having to move in with some other girls in her 20s. And yeah, I think it's like a romance. I don't know why I'm cushioning that. I know it's a romance. But I'm really excited to read this one. Not a lot of people have talked about it. I heard Rachel Catherine talk about it. I feel like I'm just gonna like this one a lot because we have similar tastes. And every time I've heard her talk about it, she's like, I don't get why this doesn't get enough hype. So I bought it, and I'm gonna read it. Down on the bottom, we have Alone with You in the Ether by Olive E. Blake. I've heard that this is more of a very realistic romance, kind of like Normal People by Sally Rooney. I just recently read that, and I enjoyed it. It just wasn't my favorite love story. I'm hoping that maybe I like this one better, but I mainly bought this because I just really want to read an Olive E. Blake book. I've just heard really great things about her writing. And then another one I've literally been putting off forever, and we're not gonna talk about the cover. Okay, I'm sadder than you are and more upset than you are that I don't have the old ones, the originals, okay? And I know I can still get them, but why would I get them if I don't even know if I like the series? If I like the series, I will get them. Pinky promise you. But for right now, not that these are that bad either, but I just want the originals because they're so iconic. Okay, anyways, it's Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. Heard her writing is very lyrical and beautiful, and I've just heard so many amazing things about this one. People are like diehard fans of this series or they hate it. So that's the biggest reason why I'm really nervous, is because I don't want to hate it, but there's just so many tropes in here that I hate, so kind of like a tough ordeal I'm in. Next up, we got Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. This was a very popular book last year and in 2022. This was actually on the Goodreads choice for I think it was literary fiction. I don't know exactly, but it was on there for 2022, and so many people have read this, and I want to know what the hype is about. Then we have 2 books, a part of a series. This is a part of the Good Girls Guide to Murder series. I just recently read the first one in February. The second one, Good Girl Bad Blood, and then As Good as Dead, the third one. This is by Holly Jackson, and they're all YA mystery thrillers. I really enjoyed the first one, so that's why I bought the rest of the series, and I'm really excited to eventually get into it. Speaking of YA mystery thriller, this is Killer Instincts. This is the second book in the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. She also wrote The Inheritance Games. I like the first one a lot, so that's why I bought the second one, and I definitely want to finish this series and then read The Inheritance Games eventually. I just haven't read those yet, but I'm in my YA mystery thriller era, so again, if you have any recs, let me know. And then I think this one is also like a mystery something too. This is Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I think this is also a part of Reese's book club, and I haven't really heard amazing things about this. I don't even know why I bought it, to be honest. I bought this probably like a year and a half ago, whenever I really wasn't in like my reading era. I was just kind of like buying books, not really knowing what I was doing. I feel like that's a phase we all go through. You know, you see one person talk about it, you don't even know what they're saying, and then you're like, oh, I've seen that somewhere. Add to cart. Yeah, I'm glad I got out of that phase, even though I genuinely do still do that. Okay, then the last book is probably the one that I am most excited to read, but I'm putting it off because this is going to be, I think, our next book club book after the one we're reading right now, which we're currently reading Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross, by the way. That's kind of on my TBR because I'm not done with it. And I'm also currently reading Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. Really enjoying that. But I'm so excited to read this book. If this wasn't a book club book, I literally would have devoured it the second that I bought it. And it's The 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston. If you don't know, I love The Dead Romantics by her. I rated that a 4.75. It was so close to a 5-star, and I've just heard from people who have read both that this one's even better than the first one. They're not like connected or anything like that. She just wrote The Dead Romantics first before she wrote this one. This one came out last year, and I would definitely say that The Dead Romantics was popular, but this one put her on the map for so many people. So many more people were talking about her with this one, just saying this is amazing, saying they loved it so much, and I am so excited to read this. This is about a girl who goes to move in to an old apartment, and basically the apartment sometimes is set 7 years in the past, and then she meets a guy who's there, but he's like a ghost almost, so there's magical realism in here, and I loved everything about the first one that she wrote, and I'm so excited. I need to read more books with magical realism. Okay, now that I've talked your ear off and gone through all of these books, I'm gonna go ahead and count them really quick. Literally a gigantic mess in front of me. So excited to clean this up. I think I'm gonna put them in stacks of 10. I feel like that's the best way to do it. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay guys, are you ready for our total? It's honestly not as crazy as I thought it was gonna be, especially considering that I just bought a ton of books for my birthday. It looks like our total, drum roll please, is 48 books on my TBR. Technically 49, but that includes Les Mis, and let's be honest, I'm never gonna read this. I feel like that's a good TBR amount. Like, I have so many options to choose from. And is it a little overwhelming at times? Yes, but at least I know where all of my TBR books are and stuff like that. And I'm just really scared for the days that I go ham buying books this year, because I know that it's probably gonna get a little bit over that. And you know what? It's okay. But I'm proud of myself for being under 50. That's a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. I obviously didn't think I had like hundreds or anything like that, or even like over 100 or hitting 70 or anything. But I feel good about this. This is good. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you did. Let me know which books you want me to read the most, and also let me know how many books you have on your physical TBR. I'm so curious and nosy. You have to tell me. Just kidding. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to, but comment down below if you want. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and Goodreads if you want to keep up with more of my daily life, especially Goodreads if you want to keep up with what books I'm reading at the moment when I'm reading them. And yeah, that's my physical TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed and are having a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.